Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fatima Ali Safri and welcome to yet another episode of Karak Scene. Karak Chai with Karak Baatein. Today my show is going to take you on a delectable journey. We have a special treat for you. We have Rashida Badlawala from Rashida Blogs. An adventurous soul, she travels the world, indulging in the sights, scenes and most importantly the flavors of each destination. Let's welcome Rashida Badlawala. Thank you so much, Rashida. Thank you so much for taking out your time for my podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Fatima.
Join us as we embark on an expedition where Rashida Badlawala shares with her journey of exploration and culinary delights. In today's episode, we have special yummy treats that are sent by Tasty Eats. Rashida, let's try these savories. We have cheese balls and we have keema samosas.
I think these will go really well with the Karak Chai.
Rashida, remembering your late mother, who was a gem of a person and very dear to me as well, tell me, how did she describe you as?
Actually, she would describe me as somebody who is very shy and reserved. She always used to push me to be more outspoken, and I think if she would see me today, she would be very proud of me and, the fact that I have started my own channel. I'm, going places. I'm doing things on my own. I'm so independent. I think this is all that she wanted for me.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I'm sure she will be so proud of you. Talking about your Instagram, I am following you since a very long time. No doubt your stories, your feeds, your posts are so interesting. Working full-time in a very hectic work life of Dubai, also balancing the social aspects, you travel a lot. And your Instagram clearly shows that you have tales of travels and knowledge and insights that we would love you to share with us. So let's talk about your travel journey. Rashida, tell me, how many countries have you been so far?
From childhood, if I were to count, I think 40 countries so far.
Wow!
I mean, that's most of these countries have been over the last decade or so, but including, the fact that I was born in India and that I stay in UAE, I think 40 should be a good number.
Oh my God, that's so impressive. So what are your top 5 countries?
Well, that's a very difficult question that a lot of people ask me very often, but in no particular order, I would say one of the places that I loved the most was Amsterdam in Netherlands. I really like the life, the city life, the vibes, the positivity that city had. It's one of the cities that I would love to settle in if I ever get the chance to. I think apart from that, I really enjoyed Turkey as well. Turkey is beautiful. It's got a lot of culture. It's very rich in history and heritage, and that's something that I really enjoy as well. In Asia, I really liked going to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has a lot of natural beauty and it's just gorgeous. The climate, the weather, everything is just beautiful, from the beaches to the mountains. Everything is amazing in Sri Lanka. Azerbaijan was very beautiful as well. It's a very quick journey from Dubai, and it's got snow, it's got mountains, it's got a lot of natural beauty, it's got city life, everything that you would want, in a country. And I think I would also say Copenhagen in Denmark was one of my favorite cities in Europe. Again, a lot of positive vibes, very lively, the people are very friendly. So I think that would be my top 5.
Wow, that's great. So which was the last country you visited?
The last country that I visited was South Korea in January. And
wow.
That was
at that time it must be freezing cold.
It was absolutely cold. In fact, I have never experienced so much snow before, how much I experienced in South Korea. It's very important to layer up and be mindful of what clothing you are carrying along with you, the type of shoes, socks, thermals, everything. So that's something that people need to take into consideration when they're traveling to such cold places.
So talking about preparation and things before you travel, what do you think are the most essentials and important stuff that you really always make sure that you pack before you travel?
So I think one of the main things is depending on the climate in that particular country, when I'm traveling during that time of the year, I decide my clothing accordingly, whether I need to, pack something which is warm or something cold. But as a rule of thumb, I always carry jackets or stoles with me just in case it gets a little chilly or, windy. So I always have an option to layer up or layer down depending on the weather changes in that city. Apart from that, I also make sure I always have my travel adapters because you don't know what kind of electric requirements are there in that country. I also carry a lot of chargers, power banks, things like that. I usually carry 2 or 3 phones as well with me just in case one runs out of power or I run out of memory, which hasn't happened yet, but you never know.
Yeah, to be on a safer side.
To be on a safer side, exactly. And apart from that, especially when I'm traveling to Western countries, I also carry a portable bidet, which is really important for me when it comes to hygiene and making sure that I'm comfortable throughout my trip.
Rashida, before we talk more about your travel journeys, I want to know कि मेरे शो में जो भी कोई दुबई किड्स आते हैं ना, मैं उनसे हमेशा पूछती हूँ कि यार हम पिक्चर्स में तो देखते हैं कि यार दुबई then and now in terms of the architecture or buildings and everything, the construction, but यार उससे पहले culture के बारे में बताओ. How was Dubai then?
So life in Dubai when we moved back in the 90s, बहुत simple life थी. It used to feel like an extension of India. It was like home away from home. It still is home away from home. But I think one of my most cherished memories back in the day was traveling in the Abra with my parents. So we used to stay in Dera, and every time we used to go out on a Friday evening, we used to walk up to the Dera Abra station, take a Abra to Bardubai side. फिर वहाँ पे घूमते थे, कहीं पे जाते थे, डिनर करते थे, and then again we used to come back in an Abra and have a walk back home. So I think that is one of my most cherished memories from back in the day.
Lovely. तो वो top favorite places कौन सी थी जो सब वहीं जा रहे होते थे weekend पे?
I think a lot of people used to go to the parks, Safa Park, Creekside Park. ये सारे parks काफी famous थे. People used to go out in big groups, families. Everybody used to love having these picnics. I think for me personally, I used to love visiting the Dubai Museum, which is in Al Fahidi.
Okay, wow.
I've not been there for, I think, more than 15 years now, but every time I look at it, every time I pass from that road, I still have memories of how beautiful it used to be.
Wow, that's amazing. Rashida, going back to your travels, how do you decide your next destination? And what pre-planning steps do you think are crucial for a successful trip?
So I always have a few destinations on my checklist, but depending on whether I want to visit in the winter or whether I want to visit in the summer, I decide on which destination I want to go. Like, for example, if I want to visit something, that has a lot of, beaches or things like that, I would try to go in the summer because obviously winter wouldn't be possible.
Right.
I also decide on whether this country needs any visa requirements or whether I need to apply for a visa beforehand.
Right.
For example, last year I had a multiple entry Schengen visa, so I tried to do as much of Europe as possible. I visited like 5 to 6 countries or probably more. This year I don't know if I'll get enough time to plan for applying for a visa or not. So I'm trying to do countries that are more easily accessible without a visa or have visa on arrival, things like that.
So can you list a name of a few countries where you will get an easy visa?
When you look at Northern Asia, Europe, if you go to Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, all of these countries have easy visa requirements for UAE residents. Places in East Asia like Indonesia, Singapore has started an e-visa, Malaysia has visa for Indians. Countries like Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan also have a lot of...
Which are very popular these days.
Very popular as well. In fact, I'm planning to visit Uzbekistan sometime this year.
Okay, nice.
There are countries like Maldives, Seychelles, Mauritius, Jordan, Sri Lanka. All of these also have a lot of easy visa requirements. So there are a lot of places, if you just do a quick Google search or if you connect with any travel advisor, they'll tell you how easy it is to travel to all of these places which do not require visa.
Right. So apart from obtaining a visa and deciding your destination, what is the next step?
So next step is I take the help of a travel agency. So I've been traveling with this agency called Marco Polo Holidays. I was recommended by a friend and my last few trips have all been planned by them. And I just realized that I'm paying the same amount I would pay if I was, doing the research and bookings on my own.
Right.
But it becomes absolutely hassle-free. I don't have to worry about, making the bookings or finding out the timings or things like that. Because they are in that industry, they recommend the best tours, they recommend the best hotels, they know what order I should visit the different cities in. they have really good contacts with their suppliers in all these other countries. So it becomes very easy for me. All I need to do is just, kind of give a go ahead. They give me a list of hotels. If I like them, I approve it. If I don't, I just ask them to give me some more options. Right. So it becomes very easy for me. It takes away the stress of planning a travel, because travel is supposed to be a leisurely activity. You're supposed to enjoy it.
So apart from Marco Polo, are there any other travel agencies that you have tried and you would recommend?
I haven't really tried any other travel agencies because, I used to just believe in booking everything by myself, just do the research and everything. And I have faced a couple of, glitches in that as well, like, not being able to book the correct type of tickets and losing money when it comes to, cancellation and refunds and things like that. Okay. So when you're booking with a travel agent, it just makes everything so easy. I have gone to the countries and I've had some issues, whether my booking is cancelled last minute for a tour, for example. I know whom to get back to. I know whom to contact. I have a point of contact within, my reach. So it becomes much more easier. I'm not stranded. Basically.
True. So before you said that before you did all the planning by yourself. So have you ever tried booking.com, Airbnb or any other platforms like this? Telling about my experience, I remember we have also used booking.com and Airbnb. And this one time in Georgia, so we had booked it was like a house, I would say, and since we arrived late, the lady cancelled the booking. Oh, wow. And thanks to our tour guide that, at the last minute, he arranged us, a chalet, and then we stayed there for overnight, and alhamdulillah, things went well. But otherwise, sometimes when you book and when you arrive at that place, it is entirely different. Right. So have you come across any challenges or mishaps like this?
I think I have come across challenges as well, and yes, I have used booking.com very extensively. I use that even today when I'm planning like staycations in the UAE and things like that. So the good thing is, you get to see a lot of pictures. Sometimes you get discounts. Sometimes you get discount tickets for attractions in the city when you're using booking.com and things like that as well.
That's interesting.
Which I used extensively when I had traveled to Paris and Amsterdam. So, you get discounted tickets to enter the museums or to enter certain attractions and things. I think once in Turkey, I had an issue where my booking was cancelled last minute, and we were driving to that place. And the challenge with Turkey is you cannot make a booking on booking.com from inside Turkey. So I could not make. I got a message from the hotel saying that the booking is cancelled because there's an issue with the room and they don't have any other rooms. But I could not book another room in another hotel. So it was a very big challenge for me.
Oh my God.
But when I reached there, we spoke to that guy. He said, it's okay, there's a hotel right next door. I've asked them to hold a room for you. So, you go and check it out and you can stay there. So it was just a one night stay and the room was pretty decent. So it did not turn up into a very big mess. But, you can imagine how bad it could be.
Yeah, right.
So once I'm done with deciding on a destination and making the bookings, I start planning my outfits and what all I need to carry, how I need to manage my trip. I normally do one outfit per day, and I always carry like a few more outfits just in case, because we are girls and we need to do that, of course. Then what I do is, I also make a list. I'm a very list person, so I always make a list of everything that I need to carry along with me. These are the most basic things for me to make sure I have all my, outfits, my layers, my makeup, my accessories, different shoes depending on where I'm going. Like, I always carry different things. Like I carry a pair of sports shoes in case I'm doing some sort of activity, which requires like me to climb places or mountains or things like that.
Rashida, living in a region where we hardly ever need any winter clothing. So when we have to travel for areas where there's a lot of cold, snow and minus temperatures, so how do we plan our shopping accordingly?
So I think one thing that I always carry along with me are thermals, because they don't take a lot of space in your bag, and they're really, really essential when you want to stay warm in these minus temperatures. I also do a lot of shopping throughout the year whenever there are sales or whenever I see something, whenever I come across something online that I really like. I just buy it because I know I will eventually use it. And I'm not the kind of person who goes like, oh, this is so last season, if I wear this today, people will think I'm out of fashion or something. If it's in good condition, if it does the job well, I'll just, use it for year after year. It doesn't matter to me. So I buy a lot of, clothes in that way. Whether it's sweaters, whether it's jackets, those parka jackets, which you really need when you're traveling in snowy countries. Also, one thing is, when you're traveling with such heavy clothes, you might find that a lot of your bag space is taken up by heavy clothes. This is something I realized last time when I was traveling, in December and in January. I started using these vacuum packed bags. So you basically put your clothes inside these bags, and you just kind of suck the air out of it. So it becomes it becomes flattened, and it fits easily inside your bag.
Acha ji, tell me, what is the next step? What about the tourist places and the areas where you want to go? How do you plan that?
So obviously, Instagram helps us a lot in telling you what you should do and where you should go and the top places to visit. So whenever I come across something like that, even if that country is not on my list, I always save that reel or that post, but I know it will help me sometime in the future. So that's one way of planning things. Again, I also check with my travel advisors. I ask them what are the best tours to do. I don't like wasting my time when I'm on a holiday. So if I'm on a holiday, I want to do everything. I want to fit in all that I can in one day, like try to see as many things as possible, try to, try different foods, visit different places. So I try to go on, day-long tours, even if it requires a little bit of traveling, with a guided kind of a tour or something like that. So I can, get the most out of that particular country or that city that I'm going to.
Wow. So have you ever hired or rented a car or bike? I don't know. But
unfortunately, I don't know how to ride a cycle. I can do bikes, but I've never rented a bike. But yeah, when I had gone to Turkey, we had rented a car, so we drove across the entire country in a car. When I go to places in Asia, like Kyrgyzstan or Kazakhstan, or when I had been to Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, we had a guide with a private car, so we didn't have to worry about catching trains or buses or things like that. We were at our own flexibility, and we could travel the entire country with that person, at our own time, and we could stop for any photo stops or lunches or whatever it was. So I think where it's feasible to hire your own guide with a car, it becomes much more easy to travel around. Also, some of these countries don't have a very good public transportation system, so it's much more cheaper to hire your own guide or get your own rent a car.
Talking about transportation, how do you manage to travel within the city if you do not have a rented car or a tour guide?
So, certain countries, it becomes too expensive to, hire your own personal guide, where, especially in places like, in countries in Europe, it becomes very expensive to have your own guide. Also, when you're renting a car, I don't want to take the hassles of finding parking and, figuring out what are the rules of that particular city and all of that. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I use the public transportation, and in all these Western countries, the public transportation system is really, really good. I think all you need is, get a good SIM card or get a good roaming package, and everything that you need will be available on Google Maps.
Talking about safety, you've gone for solo trips as well, right? So tell me, have you faced any challenges in terms of safety and security? And what do you believe are the safest places that you've been to? Or countries?
I think all the places that I've traveled to solo have been very safe. There's just one little thing that I had faced when I was in Prague. So I was in a very crowded place, and I had money stolen from my bag, which was very surprising because I did not realize it. And luckily, by God's grace, that person, whoever stole my money, just stole the money, did not take my passport or any other important documents. Otherwise, I would have been stranded in a very bad manner. But I was a little shocked, again, my first call when I realized my money was missing from my wallet was to my travel advisor, I told him like, I don't know what to do, my money is stolen. And he's like, okay, just relax. You're on the trip. I understand your money is stolen. It's fine. You can't do anything about it, but make sure you just continue on your trip. You should be happy that your passport is with you and all your other documents are with you.
Yes.
My cards were not stolen, only the cash was stolen. So again, that was a good thing. I didn't have to like call and cancel anything or, go through all of that. What my travel advisor did for me is he immediately got me in touch with the insurance company. They told me, what all requirements I need to submit in order to claim an insurance. And I got almost 60% of my money back that was stolen. So
Wow.
it's very, very, very important to, get a good insurance plan when you're traveling. Most of these countries, especially when you apply for a Schengen visa, insurance is a must. You need to submit a copy of your insurance. But people normally take the cheapest one available just to, kind of tick the box or as a formality.
Yeah.
But you really need to check what the benefits of that insurance are, what are the coverage, details and everything. Because it can really save you in bad situations, especially, when you lose your documents or when your flights are cancelled or delayed, when you lose your baggage, things like that.
Rashida, tell me which country comes to your mind when I say lakes?
Lakes. I think not a country but a city, Udaipur. Because I had recently been there a couple of years back, and Udaipur is known as the city of lakes. So,
Oh wow. Lovely. Mountains?
Switzerland.
Waterfalls?
Iceland, although I've not been there yet, but Iceland is known for a lot of waterfalls.
When are you planning to go to Iceland next?
Not in the cards as of the moment, but inshallah, sometime in the future for sure.
Inshallah. Adventure?
Adventure, I would say, my most adventurous trip was Mauritius, Sri Lanka, and Bali. So I think all three of them.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell us about your adventures, yeah?
So when I was in Mauritius, I had gone for the safari, and it was not actually planned. I mean, I didn't know we are going for a safari, so I was not dressed for it. I was wearing a dress, and I was wearing like flat shoes. I had absolutely no idea what it's going to be like. We were driving a buggy, and at a certain point of time, we were on a slope, and the instructor forgot to tell us to put the buggy in a particular gear. So basically, the buggy just flipped on its side, and luckily at the last minute we jumped out, so nothing happened to us. But it was a really scary experience.
God.
Like, I had mud all over my clothes and my shoes and my legs and whatnot, and it was a scary thing. But I mean, then we had like people come in and help us and get us a new buggy and all of that. So that was a very scary but memorable adventure for me. In Bali, I did a lot of water sports. That was a lot of fun. Like I've done a lot of parasailing when it comes to going to all these beach destinations. So I did that in Bali. I also did parasailing in Cyprus, which was very nice. And talking about parasailing, I did paragliding in Georgia, which is one of my most memorable activities. And since we're talking about memorable activities, I think the best one has to be the hot air balloon in Cappadocia, Turkey.
Oh wow.
That was just brilliant, watching the sunrise along with those, the unique mountains that Cappadocia has. It was just amazing.
True. Acha, what about shopping?
Shopping, I think Italy is the one place where I've spent a lot of money. I bought my first designer bag from Italy.
What about history?
In terms of history, I think I've been to a lot of places, in India where there's a lot of temples and a lot of, monuments, palaces, things like that, especially Rajasthan. So I think that would be a good spot for historical explorations.
Wow, nice. Animals?
I mean, I would tell people to go to Kenya or Tanzania for a proper wildlife safari, because those will be the best places. I haven't gone to any yet, but I did go for a safari in Sri Lanka, which was really good. I spotted a tiger, and I was very happy.
Oh my
about
God,
that.
you were really lucky. So, have you been to South Africa?
I have been to South Africa, but actually that was for a work trip, so I haven't been to Cape Town or for the safaris and all of that.
Okay. And what about theme parks? Theme parks.
I think Dubai. No better place than Dubai for everything that you want to do, right?
We certainly have the best theme parks.
Yeah.
Right. Best transportation?
I think anywhere in Europe, the transportation system is really, really good. So I really like the transportation system in Stockholm, Sweden. They had a very intricate network and multiple ways of connecting from one city to another, from one spot to another. So I really like the transportation system overall in Europe.
So now, last but not the least, yummy food.
Of course, the first thing that comes to my mind when you talk about yummy food is Italy. I ate a lot of pasta, a lot of pizza in Italy, and I think it was one of my favorite destinations in terms of food. The ingredients they use are so fresh, and the food tastes different from city to city to city. So it was one of the most delicious explorations that I've ever had.
So which of the best things that you would suggest that, if somebody goes to Italy and they have to have them?
I think cheese, of course,
Really?
The cheese over there is really good. Like I tried a lot of different cheese and the different pastas that they have as well. The way they make it. I actually went for a pizza making class as well in Italy, and it was quite an experience. Apart from that, they have a lot of vegetables that they grow within the region, like the tomatoes and everything, and it just tastes so yum. Like it's different. You've never tasted tomatoes like that before. So I think, when you go to a city, I make it a point at least to try out their local food. And there have been very few times when I would have gone to a city and not found anything at all to my liking, and I've had to go to a fast food chain or search for an Indian restaurant or something like that. But that's only when I'm on a very long trip and I'm really craving for some chai or something like that. But I normally make it a point to try and eat the local food wherever I go to.
So tell us more tales about your culinary journey. Whenever you're traveling, what food have you as you say that the local cuisines that you have tried in different countries. Tell us about that.
So when I had gone to Central Europe in December, they had a lot of Christmas markets, and all of these Christmas markets have a lot of unique food. Like, they have their own version of fries in different countries. They have these waffles and pancakes and things like that. Of course, hot chocolate when it's snowing, nothing like it. So I've tried a lot of that as well. A lot of countries do they have a unique way of making their own breads. Like when I went to Germany, pretzels are very famous, and they do pretzels in different ways, like whether it's just a pretzel as a breakfast or a proper sandwich. You can eat it at any time of the day with a coffee or a tea or something like that. So that's something very interesting as well. When you come towards Asia, Bali has some of the most delicious food I've ever had in my life. I'm a spicy food lover, and they have this sauce called sambal, which is made out of chilies, and it's really, really spicy. And I had this chicken curry dish with rice at a very like a dhaba style of a restaurant in Bali that our guide had taken us to. And that dish has been my favorite across all the places I've traveled to. In fact, I have searched so many Indonesian restaurants in Dubai, but I haven't found that dish anywhere. Like, I've literally shown the photo to people and they're like, no, we don't make this over here, So that's been one of my favorite places in terms of food as well. Even the seafood that you get in Indonesia is really good. Sri Lanka was really good in terms of food as well. If you're a seafood lover, places like Mauritius, has some of the best food. I think the most challenging in terms of food for me had been my latest trip to South Korea. The thing is that, everything is written in Korean. You don't know what kind of meat they are using and, what part of an animal they are using inside that food. And because it was so cold as well, it was not easy for me to, keep removing my phone to translate every time. And sometimes even the translations wouldn't really give me an idea of what went inside the food. So, Korea was one of the places where I tried local food when I had a guide along with me, so that they could order something vegetarian for me or make sure, what I'm eating is not something I wouldn't normally eat. Or else, I just found something which is continental and had like a vegetarian sign next to it, like something like a pasta or a cheese dish or something like that. which kind of was a safe option,
Great. Wow, lovely. Is it easy to find halal food when you are traveling, especially in Western countries or Far East countries?
Honestly, nowadays with so many people from the Gulf region traveling all across the world, all of these countries have halal restaurants. All you need to do is do a Google search. Just type halal and you will find a list of restaurants in every city that serve halal food, or restaurants that are Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi. You might not find the local cuisine. More often than not, it's basically the South Asian food. But if people are very specific to a certain dietary requirement, there are always options to that they can find in all of these
Definitely.
places.
But यार बहुत से ऐसे countries हैं ना कि जहाँ पे आपको बहुत struggle करना पड़ेगा मतलब ढूंढने के लिए halal food. तो आप कुछ खुद से लेके जाते हो ऐसा कुछ packed
so far
foods?
तो मैं कभी भी खुद से नहीं लेके गई हूँ, because like I told you, I travel very heavy, so I've never had the option to put noodle packets or things like that in my bag. But what I do is, if I don't find something that fits my bill, I just go for something vegetarian. And the fact is, all of these countries are very particular when you tell them you're a vegan, or when you tell them you're a vegetarian. They take extra care to not include any meat, because it's become such a big dietary segment today. So if I don't find anything, I just tell them I'm vegan, and it solves my case. Also, since we are mentioning about not being able to find a lot of food, sometimes I go to countries where the food is very expensive, and it's not always easy to eat at a restaurant. Especially when I had gone to Switzerland, the restaurants are very expensive. You can't have like 2 meals, lunch and dinner. Both the times you're spending like 1,000 dirhams a day otherwise. So what I also do a lot frequently is I shop for sandwiches and things like that from supermarkets, like how you have sandwiches and packed foods available in supermarkets like Carrefour over here.
Right.
Similarly, you have a lot of these bread and butter or vegetarian sandwiches that are available in their convenience stores, and those are really cheap, they are really filling. And for me, it's not always about eating a heavy meal like 3 times a day. If I've done a good breakfast, then I can go on to evening. I'm not a very big appetite person, so this helps me save a lot of money as well, and it kind of keeps me satiated without having to worry about what am I eating, or I'm spending too much. And,
of course, and things are always in budget in that way, right? अच्छा, तो बताओ कि यार कभी कुछ ऐसा try किया है that then after having it you immediately regretted कि यार ये मैंने क्या खा लिया?
I don't think I've ever tried something like that. Although, there are dishes that I had a lot of hopes from, and it did not turn out to be very good. Like, for example, Switzerland ki baat kar rahe, so, fondue is a very famous dish of Switzerland. But maybe it was the restaurant that I tried it at or something. But I really did not enjoy it, because it was very bland, and it was just like eating cheese and bread. जो मुझे जरा भी मजा नहीं आया उसमें.
Right. So आजकल तो ऐसा ही हो गया ना कि आप countries के बारे में, travel के बारे में search कर रहे हो, and then there are so many reels and TikToks के जहाँ पे वो food के बारे में बता रहे हैं कि यार अगर आप ये place पे जा रहे हो तो ये specific चीज या खाना आपने try करना ही है. So tell me about that कि कौन सी चीजें ऐसे जो viral हुई हैं and you have tried, और या तो वो फिर बहुत ज़्यादा up to expectation निकली हैं या बिल्कुल disappointing.
So I've tried the fries at in Belgium and Amsterdam, जो काफी famous होते हैं. वहाँ पे lines लगती है. When I had gone to South Korea, they had a dessert which is also very famous. I see it in a lot of posts and everything. तो वो भी मैंने try किया था. I wanted to try the ramen, unfortunately, but none of the ramens in Korea were halal, so I couldn't really do that.
Okay.
And I think my biggest challenge will be whenever I travel to Japan, because I know Japan is very difficult when it comes to food and everything, and I'm not much of a seafood person also. So when I go there, I will definitely make a list of places that you can safely eat at.
Yes, for sure, and we are definitely looking forward to it. Rashida, last but not the least, tell me, what are your preferred airlines, and what are the most budget-friendly airlines, and the best when it comes to comfort?
I think when it comes to comfort, we can all agree that Emirates is the best.
Definitely.
For me, it's not about which is the best airline or which is the most comfortable or the cheapest for that matter. For me, what matters is, going in an airline which has 0 stops or the least number of stops if I'm flying to a country where there are no direct flights, because it helps me save a lot of time. So even if it's an Emirates with a higher price compared to spending 5 more hours and taking a connecting flight, I would still prefer going with a direct flight because it saves me a lot of time. I think when it comes to budget friendly, there are a lot of flights that you can opt for, like Air Arabia or Fly Dubai. It all depends on the destination that you're flying to. The price changes accordingly, based on the season that you're traveling in. One of my preferred time of traveling is also overnight. So if I get an overnight flight, I always prefer that because it saves me my daytime, which I can actually utilize, exploring the city or doing something much worthwhile. Also, I make it a point to book it from the airline's website, or I ask my travel advisor to book it for me instead of booking it from third-party websites, where it becomes very difficult when you have to make cancellations or request for refunds and things like that.
That's great. So for some people, time is more important than money, and a few always look for budget-friendly options. We have come to the last part of our podcast today. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. Rashida, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Is there anything else that you would like to tell our viewers that which could inspire them in their travels?
I think I would just say that when you're traveling, make the most out of whichever country you're going to. Indulge in the local culture, meet people, talk to them, hear their stories, try out the local cuisine. That's the best way to explore a city, explore a country.
Thank you so much, Rashida, for inspiring us with your travel stories and your experiences. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow Rashida Blogs and Karak Scene on Instagram. It's me, Fatima Ali Safri, signing off. Ma salama.